I'm back for a special edition, part 25, for someone that I stumbled over, Mr. The Caretaker, Mr. Bob Young, the owner of the Helmand Ticats at the Halifax Wanderers grounds. And I had a chance to brief him on my CFL Red-Zone Rule that he didn't know anything about, but he's going to know a lot more about in this session, this special edition session for the Caretaker, Mr. Bob Young. So I'll get right into it, Mr. Young. I'm going to show you. I just want to shut this off. I hope I can. It's not going to happen. Doesn't matter. This is my CFL Red-Zone Rule presentation by CFL superfan Spyder. That's me. Okay, that I presented Mr. Bob Young to the Commissioner of the CFL and the CFL on January 31st of 2018. And this is my agenda layout that I sent him prior to my presentation. And there's my CFL field diagram you see in the monitor as well. And I use football terms, okay? So this is my CFL Red-Zone Rule layout agenda. I use quarters, football terms. I had my first was my CFL Red-Zone Rule presentation introduction, and the main proposed new CFL Red-Zone Rule presentation, which consists of, like I said, my first quarter segment will be my finished product and final rules of my second version of my proposed new CFL Red-Zone Rule. My second quarter segment will be my main objectives and features and benefits and advantages of my proposed new CFL Red-Zone Rule. And my third quarter segment will be the business side and the opportunities in marketing and branding of my proposed new CFL Red-Zone Rule. And the fourth quarter session will be my closing key selling points and wrap up. And that was my agenda I sent to the Commissioner and the CFL prior to my presentation. So I'll start, Mr. Bob Young, with my intro presentation. Okay, and I briefed you on actually somewhat when I was introduced. I introduced myself to you at the Halifax Wanderers grounds. So here's my presentation introduction. How and why I came up with my proposed new CFL Red-Zone Rule. 4.5 years ago, I decided to do a survey on why so many Canadian sports fans in Canada only watch NFL 4-down football and don't even watch our own brand of CFL 3-down football in our own country, which I believe could be a first and unprecedented by a CFL fan. And what I found in my findings in the survey I conducted, outside the obvious impressionables, 32 NFL teams, big full stadiums, their marketing, branding, coverage, hype, betting, and their big money relating to our 3-down game itself versus their 4-down game, were consistent legitimate complaints about our CFL 3-down game and clear advantages that 4-down football have over 3-down football. I also mentioned to Bob Young the Canadian ratio was also a no-no, a big complaint. And I'm going back to my comparison of 3-down football, okay, and a 4-down football advantages of a 3-down game. That worked. Too much kicking in the CFL and way too many field goals and too many tune-outs that they said don't even exist in the NFL, and said even a bigger turnoff, too many unappealing second down stops in the red zone that results in more boring, predictable, non-eventful, easy chip shot field goals that they said they can't watch. And said in the NFL with 4 downs, there are a lot more first downs to keep drives going and more touchdowns in the red zone being scored, because they said in the CFL they are basically playing with only 2 downs to get a first down to keep drives going in the CFL and to score a touchdown in the red zone in the CFL, because they said the 3rd down in the CFL is hardly ever used. And I found mostly all who only watch NFL football in Canada, and there are a lot of them, they don't even watch the Grey Cup in our own country. Can you imagine that? Which is a very serious problem that this CFL needs to address and fix. So what I did, Mr. Bob Young, was I applied a simple sales concept remedy formula. If a product is taking your market share and is in more popular demand and has more appealing features and benefits and more selling advantages than your product has, then you have to come up with a product as good and as competitive so you can compete. Or even better, come up with a better product that has better and more appealing selling features and benefits than your competition. And that, Mr. Bob Young, is exactly what I believe I did here. And when I exposed it to every single person I surveyed for over 3.5 years, who all were mesmerized by it and really sold on it and asked me, Spyder, how did you come up with it? And I said, by listening, watching, and doing my homework. And I actually had 2 versions of my CFL Red-Zone Rule, and I actually called it the Inside the Red-Zone Rule at first, and changed it to simply the proposed new CFL Red-Zone Rule, and then decided to focus only on my second version of my CFL Red-Zone Rule. So that was my part of my introduction, Mr. Bob Young. Now I'm going right in to, okay, the finished product and final rules and second version of my proposed new CFL Red-Zone Rule, which is the first quarter segment. CFL Red-Zone Rule. CFL teams in offense will have to scrimmage the football on third down every time they are on or inside the opposition's 20-yard line in the red zone, playing exciting CFL 3-down football at its best to score touchdowns in the red zone. CFL teams using my second version, my proposed new CFL Red Zone Rule, will be able to keep the drive going in the red zone to get a first down in the red zone as well, which is no different than the current rules now in the CFL. If a CFL team chooses to play 3-down football in the red zone to score a touchdown, other than now would be enforced with my second version of proposed new CFL Red Zone Rule, which I actually briefly talked to Mr. Bob Young about, and I talked to him about the Eastern Final with a helmet last year with a helmet tax from the 2-yard line, and they, again, chose to kick another boring, predictable, non-eventful, easy chip shot field goals. And I mentioned to him that in the CFL, the third down in the red zone is only used in the 1-yard line. They don't even use it on the 5 or the 4 or 3 or the 2, like in the Eastern Final last year. So back to my rules, and what of my second version of my proposed new CFL Red Zone Rule. And with my second version of my proposed new CFL Red Zone Rule, if a CFL team is stopped on third down in the red zone, maintaining possession of the ball and not forced outside the red zone on third down, then a CFL team still gets rewarded with a CFL Red Zone kick for getting in the red zone and staying in the red zone on third down, but not from where the stop was made on third down in the red zone, because it would be just another boring, predictable, non-eventful, easy chip shot field goal, but instead a much more challenging, rewarded CFL red zone kick from the 35-yard line, where a CFL team can come up with 3 points, but not an automatic 3 points, which also complements my second version, my proposed new CFL Red Zone Rule, and adds even more excitement and drama to my new proposed CFL Red Zone Rule, and at the same time still preserves our 3-down game, which is remarkable, because a CFL team cannot fake it and try to go for a touchdown, because that would be 4-down football. They have to kick my CFL Red Zone kick from the 35-yard line, which would actually be kicked from the 42 when you add the 7 yards. That's at the CFL would have to decide would it be the 35 or the 42. And if a CFL team with the ball on third down in the red zone is intercepted, then the same current CFL rules would apply, and the same on a fumble and on first and second down if there is a turnover in the red zone. The same optional CFL rules would also apply if the team with the ball is forced outside the red zone on third down, preventing the CFL red zone kick to where the team on defense would get the ball on offense, either from the 35 or they opt to receive a punt return. And in overtime, my second version, my proposed new CFL Red Zone Rule, will fully apply along with the attached CFL Red Zone kick, and so would the 2-point convert. There's an optional provision part of my proposed new CFL Red Zone Rule that you can find my part 2 session in my YouTube session, but I prefer it playing out on its own, okay, like it is now. All right, so now, Mr. Bob Young, I'm going to skip over the main objections and advantages to my CFL Red Zone Rule. So I'm actually going to do my top 10 super features and benefits on my Facebook page, okay, and add a little bit of some of this document, okay, on the main objectives and features and advantages. But I'm going to go right into the business side, okay. All right, business side and opportunities in marketing and new branding of my second version of my proposed new CFL Red Zone Rule. The second version of my proposed new CFL Red Zone Rule will create new business opportunities and new revenue streams for the CFL in branding and in new CFL merchandise sales, and a new CFL Red Zone Rule, CFL Red Zone Rule kick, sponsorship tag sales. The CFL will be able to really cash in and capitalize on such an outstanding new CFL rule that puts the spotlight on our 3-down game and our third down. That's associated with probably the most important and most recognizable term in football, that being the red zone, which is so notably synonymous with football, which the CFL could own in the new rule name and could put a trademark on. The CFL field could be highlighted to display and put a spotlight on my second version of my proposed new CFL Red-Zone Rule by outlining the white 20-yard line in red on a CFL field and by highlighting the number 20 in red in both red zones, like the monitor in front. The CFL and their marketing and branding team could really jazz up the new CFL Red-Zone Rule, and CFL Red-Zone Rule kick new brands and logos to look sensational and stunning that would really grab you and draw you in to buy new CFL Red-Zone Rule merchandise. As well, TSN and HD could jazz up their coverage by using and displaying striking, eye-catching CFL Red-Zone Rule graphics on the 20-yard line in the red zone. TSN also in HD could display an eye-catching CFL Red-Zone kick graphic in their coverage as well, both with sponsorship tags attached to generate more revenue for the CFL. And what the second version of my proposed new CFL Red-Zone Rule would do for a new CFL video game would be phenomenal and unbelievable and super exciting, because it would make a new CFL video game so much more innovative and so much more exciting to play, and with incredible, outstanding graphics. That also would make a new CFL video game more attractive to buy, which would generate a lot more sales for the CFL. And the excitement and drama my second version, my proposed new CFL Red-Zone Rule would create at a CFL game live in the Red Zone and on HD TV would be spectacular and super exciting for CFL fans and for all sports fans and for the younger generation sports fans in Canada and around the sports world. Because if adopted by the CFL, my second version, my proposed new... Okay, I'm sorry. That's skip 2. Okay, closing key selling points. That'll be at my end. Okay, the second version of my proposed new CFL Red-Zone Rule is the exact and perfect injection our CFL 3-down game needs. That presents itself loud and clear every single CFL game. That's literally staring the CFL right in the eye, just waiting to be adopted by the CFL, because the second version of my proposed new CFL Red-Zone Rule does it all and is perfectly suited and naturally and tailor-made for CFL 3-down football. And when you have someone as prominent in sports as Steve Armitage, who has done 27 Grey Cups, who I last surveyed, fascinated by it, and has given it a stamp of approval, you know you have something big. And then have Steve Armitage tell you that the CFL has to recognize and acknowledge that they are competing in a highly competitive sports world today, and they must realize that they are selling entertainment and excitement, which Mr. Armitage says is exactly what my second version of my proposed new CFL Red-Zone Rule does, and said it would unquestionably make our 3-down game a lot more entertaining and a lot more exciting and a lot more attractive brand of CFL 3-down football to watch and be part of. And by the overwhelming response from the hundreds of people I surveyed, who were all captivated by it and sold on it big time, truly indicates how valuable my second version of my proposed new CFL Red-Zone Rule really is, which is equally important for the CFL to acknowledge as well and to recognize its incredible, enriching upside and recognize the importance of making it part of our CFL 3-down game. And you can be reassured when it's professionally presented and fully exposed to all CFL fans and to all the younger generation sports fans and all the NFL-only fans in Canada and to all the CFL players, that they too will be blown away and really sold on it, because it's the only new CFL rule that can possibly do what it can do. The main goal and main objective in the game of football is crossing the goal line, okay, when a football team has the ball for a touchdown, because football fans go to football games to see touchdowns scored, not repetitive second down stops in the red zone, resulting in more predictable, non-eventful, easy chip shot field goals that no football fan wants to see, especially in a 3-down football game. Just like football fans go to hockey games to see lots of exciting goals scored, not 0-0 ties or 1-1 ties. And that's exactly what my football fans will see with my second version of my proposed new CFL Red-Zone Rule. More exciting downs, more exciting touchdowns being scored in the CFL and in the red zone. Big time. It will also be beneficial for the development of minor league and high school and college football in Canada, and you will now see minor league and high school football programs in Canada all playing CFL 3-down football and wearing CFL team colored jerseys and not playing American 4-down football. In our own country, wearing NFL jerseys, which will really promote our brand of CFL 3-down football in Canada. Phenomenal. Fantastic what it would do. And with my proposed new CFL Red-Zone Rule, there are just way too many advantages that far outweigh any disadvantages, which there, by the way, there are none. because there are way too many compelling key features and benefits and too many strong, convincing, justifiable advantages from both the entertaining and business side of our CFL 3-down game to prove why it should be made part of our CFL 3-down game. The CFL needs not to only survive, it needs to strive. And that's precisely and exactly what my second version of my proposed new CFL Red-Zone Rule will do for our CFL 3-down game, and make it soar and roar throughout CFL stadiums and take our 3-down game to a whole new level. And if my second version of my proposed new CFL Red-Zone Rule is wisely adopted by the CFL, it would create a tremendous amount of excitement and buzz around CFL 3-down football like never before. It would be phenomenal, and the biggest thing that would ever happen in our CFL 3-down game. And what a huge selling feature to sell CFL 3-down football. And what a story for the CFL to tell and sell. The CFL, you want to do something big? Well, this would be doing something big. Not only would it be big, it would be a blockbuster. Can you imagine the promo and the launch the CFL could do, and the incredible headlines like the new bold CFL, featuring the biggest and most innovative and most exciting and most entertaining new CFL rule in CFL history and in all professional football, that's full of drama, introducing the new super exciting, naturally tailor-made for CFL 3-down football CFL Red-Zone Rule, complemented by the new compatible CFL Red-Zone kick. Come and be part of it. I can guarantee you the NFL won't know what to do, and the NFL will be definitely scrambling and spinning, because our 3-down game and our 3rd down now will be more impactful and be more powerful and have more focus on it and be a more valuable, more important down and be a much more exciting down than their 4th down. Now I'm going to go right into, that's the business side. I'm going to go right into my 10 super features and benefits. Spyder's CFL Red-Zone Rule 10 super features and benefits. It will amazingly and remarkably completely eliminate all the unappealing 2nd down stops in the red zone in the CFL, which would be a huge selling feature to sell CFL 3-down football. What a huge zinger. Number 2, will completely eliminate all the undesirable, boring, predictable, non-eventful, easy chip shot field goals in the red zone or slightly outside the red zone, depending on where the 2nd down stop was made in the red zone, and replace them with more exciting touchdowns scored in the red zone in the CFL, which would be another gigantic selling feature to sell CFL 3-down football. 2 huge zingers, okay? Imagine, in the red zone, the 2 biggest turnoffs and biggest killers of our CFL 3-down game completely gone. Huge zinger. Number 3, and if a CFL team in offense is stopped on 3rd down in the red zone, maintaining possession of the ball and not forced outside the red zone on 3rd down using Spyder's CFL Red-Zone Rule, then a CFL team still gets rewarded with a CFL red zone kick for getting in the red zone and staying in the red zone on 3rd down, but not from where the stop was made on 3rd down in the red zone, because it would be just another boring, predictable, non-eventful, easy chip shot field goal, but instead a much more unpredictable and a much more challenging rewarded CFL red zone kick from the 35-yard line that would be actually from the 42 when you add the 7 yards, and CFL could choose either or. Where a CFL team can still come up with 3 points, but not an automatic 3 points. My Spyder's attached compatible CFL red zone kick is also a big part of my CFL red zone rule. Huge zinger. Number 4, it will not only create a lot more excitement and drama offensively in the red zone, the CFL will also create an invigorating plot defensively in the red zone as well, because it would create an opportunity for a big defensive play on 3rd down to prevent a touchdown from being scored in the red zone, and even a bigger defensive play if a CFL team on defense forces the CFL team with the football on offense on 3rd down in the red zone outside the red zone, preventing the CFL red zone kick. Huge, number 4, huge zinger. Number 5, Spyder's CFL Red-Zone Rule will deliver, and it will favorably increase a more respectful average percentage of touchdowns scored in the red zone amongst 9 CFL teams for a completed CFL season, with a guaranteed increase of 18%, which I'm going to go over at the end, in more touchdowns scored in the red zone, okay, amongst 9 CFL teams in a completed regular CFL season, resulting in 50 more touchdowns scored in the red zone in the CFL. And on a 20% increase, 56 more touchdowns scored. And on a 25% increase, 70 more touchdowns scored in the red zone in the CFL that are also obtainable and reachable numbers, okay? Not just the 18 guaranteed percent. That's a huge zinger, isn't that? Huge selling feature. Number 5. Number 6, it will also practically diminish all those boring, low-scoring, unwatchable games in the CFL, and even higher-scoring CFL games with 6 to 8 or more field goals, and sometimes 6 or 8 field goals by one CFL team in one game, and with too many of them for too many points and more boring, predictable, non-eventful, easy chip shot field goals that will be replaced with more exciting touchdowns scored in the red zone with Spyder's CFL Red-Zone Rule. What a huge zinger. Big feature. Another huge selling feature. Number 7, and there will be a lot more big plays and big passing plays now in the CFL that the CFL is really lacking, because CFL teams in offense will want to get in the red zone to play exciting CFL 3-down football, to score touchdowns with Spyder's CFL Red-Zone Rule that will dramatically reduce all the boring short plays on first and second down under 10 yards in the CFL. That results in more undesirable 2-and-outs, and you will now see CFL teams in offense go for it a lot more on third down near the red zone with Spyder's super exciting CFL Red-Zone Rule to keep drives going to score touchdowns. That will also reduce 2-and-outs. Another huge zinger selling feature. Number 8, and what's so phenomenal about Spyder's CFL Red-Zone Rule is it cannot be stolen by the NFL, because it simply and unequivocally would not work with 4-down football, but will work naturally and perfectly with 3-down football like it was meant for and tailor-made for CFL 3-down football, and it would solely belong to the CFL and not the NFL. And at the same time, it will remarkably still preserve a 3-down game. Huge selling feature. Number 9, with Spyder's CFL Red-Zone Rule made part of our CFL 3-down game, it will become the biggest and most innovative and most dramatic and most entertaining and most exciting and most powerful and most significant new CFL rule in CFL history and in all of professional football. Because there's no other new CFL rule or any football rule, period, that can possibly do what it can do, from the entertaining value side of our CFL 3-down game, and the incredible amount of excitement and drama it will create live in CFL stadiums will be electrifying. That will soar and roar throughout the CFL and on TSN HD TV. That will be spectacular and super exciting for CFL fans and viewers watching. It will also really put a spotlight and real emphasis on a third down and give our third down real prominence and give it a real purpose and meaning, and it will put a real signature on the CFL 3-down game of football. Huge zinger selling feature. Number 10. And from the business side of our 3-down game with Spyder's CFL Red-Zone Rule made part of our CFL 3-down game, it will substantially increase the CFL fan base, instantly attract all the younger generation sports fans, and gravitate all the NFL-only fans in Canada to our CFL 3-down game, who the CFL desperately needs as CFL fans, and it will significantly increase attendance throughout the CFL and in major CFL markets, and it will considerably increase the CFL's viewership audience and noticeably increase season ticket sales throughout the CFL, and it will create new revenue streams with new CFL Red-Zone Rule branding and with new CFL Red-Zone Rule and CFL Red-Zone Kick merchandise sales and TV and other sponsorship tag sales that will generate a lot more revenue for the CFL and their owners, which it will all deliver. That's Spyder's 10 super features and benefits, and that is what Spyder's CFL Red-Zone Rule do for a CFL 3-down game, and even a lot more. Powerful features. Powerful selling features. Compelling, justifiable, 10 super features and benefits. You find on my Facebook page as well. Now I'm going back to main objectives, features and benefits, advantages of my CFL Red-Zone Rule. Number 10 I'm going to read to you. These numbers are powerful. They're unbelievable. The average percentage of touchdowns scored in the red zone amongst 9 CFL teams in 2017 CFL regular season was 54.8%, and a third of the 9 CFL teams were under 50%, and 2/3 of 9 CFL teams were under the average of 54.8%, and 1 CFL team barely above the average of only 56.3%, and only 2 above 60%, 1 at 64.7% and 1 at 71.9%. And out of a total of 516 attempts in the red zone amongst 9 CFL teams during the 2017 regular CFL season, there were 283 touchdowns in the red zone scored amongst 9 CFL teams for an average of 54.8%. But with my second version of my proposing CFL Red-Zone Rule, there would be a probable and realistic and consistent and obtainable increase of 20 to 25%, resulting in 65.8 to 68.5 of an average percentage of touchdowns scored in the red zone amongst 9 CFL teams in a completed regular CFL season, meaning on an average of 65.8% there would be 339 touchdowns scored in the red zone, 56 more touchdowns in the red zone for a total of 224 more points if all the single point converts were successful. And at 68.5% of an average percentage of touchdowns scored in the red zone, 70 more touchdowns scored in the red zone for a total of 280 more points if all the single point converts were successful. The second version of my proposed new CFL Red-Zone Rule will deliver and favorably increase a more respectful and average percentage of touchdowns scored in the red zone amongst 9 CFL teams. Ain't they powerful numbers? Now I'm going to quickly do the 18% that I was telling you about. That's unbelievable, okay? So here we go. Based on the current average percentage of touchdowns scored in the red zone amongst 9 CFL teams in 2017 regular season of 54.8%, if you take 54.8% and multiply by 33% based on an increase of one more down in the red zone using my CFL Red Zone Rule, you get an 18% increase of touchdowns scored in the red zone. Then multiply 54.8% by 18% equals 64.9%, which would guarantee an increase from the current average percentage of 54.8% to an average percentage of 64.9% of an average percentage of touchdowns scored in the red zone amongst 9 CFL teams in a regular CFL season, resulting in 50 more touchdowns scored in the red zone for a total of 200 more points, making the 20 and 25% increase also, as I indicated in Part 10, very probable and obtainable. So there we are, Mr. Bob Young. That's my presentation. That I wanted to do a special edition for you on my CFL Red Zone Rule that I presented to the Commission of the CFL on January 31st, 2018. So at the Tim Hortons Field, okay, this year in 2019 at Tim Hortons Field and all the other CFL stadiums live, and at the 107th Grey Cup. Okay, if you don't want any more undesirable second down stops in the red zone resulting in more boring, predictable, non-eventful, easy chip shot field goals, chant in the red zone. Loud, I want to hear you chanting loud. We want Spyder CFL Red Zone Rule. We want Spyder CFL Red Zone Rule. Signing out. I'll see you at the Grey Cup in 2007 and hopefully at Touchdown Atlantic. Take care. Spyder.